Once upon a time in the small, quiet village of Halfton, there lived a pair of identical twins, Sylvia and Selene. From the outside, they appeared to be sweet, well-behaved girls, always dressed in matching dresses, always holding hands as they walked to school. But in the hearts of those who knew them well, there was a chilling sense that something was not quite right. Their parents, a respected couple in the village, were often away on business, leaving the twins to their own devices. The villagers had little reason to doubt the girls' manners, for they had been raised in a loving home. Yet whispers followed them like shadows. Every now and then, a neighbor would report strange happenings, animals disappearing in the night, crops failing inexplicably, or eerie laughter echoing through the woods near the twins' home. But it was always dismissed as coincidence. One crisp autumn evening, a new family moved into the house next to the twins' home. The Carter family, Emma and James, along with their young son Oliver, were excited to start fresh in Halfton. They were quick to introduce themselves to the neighbors, and in the process met Sylvia and Selene. At first, the girls were polite, offering sweet smiles, but their eyes gleamed with a peculiar intensity that made Emma uneasy. "Would you like to come over and play with us?" Selene asked Oliver, her voice syrupy sweet. "We can show you our secret place," Sylvia added with a grin. Oliver, curious and unafraid, agreed. His parents, though hesitant, allowed it, thinking it was just the start of a typical childhood friendship. The twins led him into the woods behind their house, through a twisting path that seemed to grow narrower and darker as they ventured deeper. The air grew colder, and the trees loomed like silent sentinels, their branches twisting into grotesque shapes. "Where are we going?" Oliver asked, his voice trembling slightly. "To our special spot," Sylvia answered, her smile growing wider. "It's a place no one else knows about. It's ours alone." They soon arrived at a clearing where a large, gnarled tree stood, its roots spiraling into the earth like twisted veins. Beneath it, a stone slab was partially uncovered, its surface carved with strange ancient symbols. The girls crouched beside it, brushing away leaves and dirt. Oliver looked uncertainly at them. "What is that?" "It's our secret," Selene whispered. "But you can join us. It will make you stronger." Suddenly, Oliver's stomach churned and he took a step back. There was something terribly wrong about this place, something he couldn't quite understand. "I don't think I want to play anymore." But the twins were insistent. They reached out to him, their hands icy cold, their eyes gleaming with something dark and unnatural. "You must join us," they said in unison, their voices suddenly merging into one. Oliver tried to pull away, but the ground seemed to shift beneath him, pulling him toward the stone. His heart pounded in his chest. He could feel their will press down on him like an invisible force. Before he could scream, a loud crack echoed through the forest. The twins suddenly stopped, their eyes flickering with an expression Oliver couldn't place. Sylvia tilted her head as if considering something, then straightened. "Not yet," she murmured. Without another word, the twins stood up and walked back toward the village, leaving Oliver trembling in the clearing. As they disappeared into the trees, their laughter floated back to him, high-pitched and unsettling. The next morning, Oliver was silent at breakfast, his eyes wide and distant. He didn't speak to anyone, and when his parents asked about his time with the twins, he merely shook his head and mumbled something about feeling sick. Days passed, and strange things began to happen around the Carter household. First it was the crops. Fruit trees in their yard shriveled up overnight. Then their dog vanished without a trace. Finally, a feverish Oliver began to have unsettling dreams. Dreams where the twins appeared, standing in a circle, chanting in unison as shadows swirled around them. The twins' faces were twisted, their eyes glowing with an unnatural light. One evening, Emma finally grew desperate. She sought out the village's old librarian, Mrs. Wren, who was known to have vast knowledge of local legends and dark history. Mrs. Wren listened carefully to Emma's concerns before speaking in a low, tremulous voice. "Those girls," she began, "are not ordinary children. They are the descendants of a cursed bloodline, born under the shadow of a dark ritual. Long ago their ancestors made a pact with something ancient, something that demands a price. The twins, Sylvia and Selene, are the keepers of that pact. They seek to find those who are weak of heart and spirit, to draw them into their darkness. Then what can we do?" Emma asked, her voice shaking with fear. "You must separate them," Mrs. Wren replied. "Break the bond between them. If one is left alone, the curse will lose its power." That night, Emma and James decided to confront the twins. They went to the edge of the forest where the twins had led Oliver and found the stone slab. As they touched the ancient symbols, they felt a sudden, suffocating cold, as if the air itself was alive with malice. Sylvia and Selene appeared from the shadows, standing before them like twin specters. Their smiles were identical, but there was a cruel twist to them now. "You shouldn't have come," Sylvia said softly. "Yes," Selene echoed. "You cannot break what is already bound." Before they could react, the twins stepped forward in perfect unison, their hands reaching out, their eyes glowing with an unnatural light. The air shimmered around them, and the ground beneath Emma and James began to tremble. But just as the darkness seemed about to consume them, there was a sudden flash of bright light. Oliver, pale and shaking, appeared in the clearing, his eyes locked on the twins. "No," he cried. "I won't let you take them." For a moment the twins faltered, their expressions flickering with something like confusion. In that instant the bond between them wavered, and the air crackled with energy. The twins screamed in unison, a sound that pierced the night as if the earth itself was splitting apart. The clearing was filled with a blinding light, and when it faded, the twins were gone, vanished into the shadows of the forest, leaving only the cold stone behind. The village of Halfton was never quite the same after that night. Oliver recovered, but the memory of the twins lingered in the minds of all who had witnessed their dark power. The Carter family moved away soon after, seeking peace in a place far from the cursed village. As for Sylvia and Selene, their names became whispered legends, warnings to those who dared to cross the threshold of Halfton. And in the dark corners of the forest, some say you can still hear the faint echo of their laughter, waiting for the next soul to tempt into their web. For the evil twins were never truly gone. They had simply gone into hiding, biding their time until the darkness called to them again. Thanks for listening. Please subscribe, like and share for more.